Yeah, this is me excited. And I've sort of compiled all the leaks.
I'm Tim Cook, and I approve this message.
They steal our ideas.
That was a sneak peek at the all-new Google Pixel Buds.
Gimmicks.
I did it! I touched without touching!
Stealing your data.
The reason the price is so low is you're actually giving up all of your personal data.
Don't be a green bubble. Choose Apple in 2020 because, unlike them, we mostly deliver on what we promise. With us, you know everyone will like you better, and your new piece of aluminum will help you be successful. At Apple, we have your best interest at heart, always.
Because we care.
Remember, vote Apple in 2020. You know you want to.
Paid for by our trillions in the bank. Android might be better, but we're just hoping you don't get this far. Please just choose us.
Man, politics is getting out of control. So when it comes to Apple, you can count on pretty much two things every year. There's gonna be at least one new iPhone, and Tim Cook is gonna walk out on stage to announce it. Anything else in between is a total wild guess, but we live in a wonderful golden age of rumor mongering and leaks, and I've sort of compiled all the leaks and things that seem realistic, as well as my own expectations for what 2020 is gonna have in store for Apple, and I think we might actually get some surprises this year. By the way, when we hit 1.7 million subs, we're gonna be doing a Dream Phone giveaway to win whatever phone of your dreams you want. All you gotta do to enter is just subscribe and turn notifications on, and we'll hit 1.7, we'll pick a lucky winner. So you know what's better than 3 iPhones in 2019? 4 iPhones in 2020. So right now, we obviously have one version of the iPhone 11, and then the 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max. The 12 will get 2 versions, and then you'll have for the 12 Pro, the regular and the Max version. OLED's gonna stay for the Pros, and then LCD is going to stay for the 12s, but obviously screen sizes are gonna change. So for the 12, we're gonna get a smaller one this generation. We'll have a 5.4 inch and a 6.1 inch LCD. The 6.1 inch is the same size as the current iPhone 11, and sizes are gonna get a little bit different on the Pro as well. We should see again a 6.1 inch version of the Pro, so the regular Pro is gonna get larger, and then the 6.5 inch version for the Pro Max, that size will stay the same. When it comes to design, we're gonna go with the iPhone 4. If you remember that phone, glass on the top, glass on the bottom, metal band all around it. We should go back to that with the metal bands and glass. So hardware, big design change. I think that's always nice to see, and then we'll probably see that design for the next 3 years. So things like Face ID are still gonna be there. It's still gonna have a notch. It's gonna be a little bit smaller. It's not going behind the screen anytime soon. Processor should obviously be 1A better. We'll be getting the A14 this generation to go along with iOS 14. Camera should certainly be an improvement. I don't expect a megapixelage change, but we should get an extra sensor for time of flight on board. When the iPhone 11 Pro hit, one of the big changes was the green color. It looks like Apple's going to introduce a new color seemingly every year. Navy blue should be on board. The renders are to be believed. It looks pretty cool. And I think at this point, in true to Apple form, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The iPhones are cash cow. They're not gonna do something crazy at this point and sort of risk that gigantic revenue stream. We're still gonna have Lightning port on there, not going USB-C or even portless quite yet. No giant surprises, just small improvements over a package that's already been working pretty well. Also supposedly coming this year, a sequel to the iPhone SE. So if you loved the iPhone 8 design, but liked the iPhone 11 specs, you are going to be happy. So no Face ID, but the last generation of Touch ID and pretty powerful processor in there with the A13. It's probably a pretty good compromise for people to make. They get the updated specs, maybe a bit of an outdated design, but at a price point coming in around $400, assuming Apple doesn't give it entry-level storage of like 32 gigs. So Apple obviously does a lot of things right, and it's a topic that generally like to cover, but they are far from perfect, and a lot of things they could do to improve in 2020 and any year. And let's start with price. Certainly the prices are very high. In most product categories they are in the top tier. And there's a lot of people I think that would willingly and happily use Apple products, update their Apple products if the price point just came down. A lot of other things that could be improved. Entry-level storage for iPhones should in no world be 64 gigs. bring 128 gigs back, make that be the starting price point. Towards the end of 2019, it seemed like Apple started to listen to consumer wants more than they have in the past. I'd love to see that continue in 2020. I think one of the amazing things about Android, what the manufacturers are doing, is that a lot of them are developing their products out in the open, essentially releasing developer gear that people can buy. You look at the Galaxy Fold, you've got what Motorola and Samsung are doing with the Flip. These foldable devices are maybe not mass consumer ready, but they are out there and they're getting feedback, fixing it, and making the next version presumably better. I'd love to see Apple bring some of these products out to the market, try new things, whether it's a foldable, whether it's AR glasses, whatever product they've got that's close in their skunk works. Call it a developer edition, let people try it. That would be a very admittedly anti-Apple thing to do. I think it would be very interesting to see that process and sort of help shape what a future Gen 2 and Gen 3 product could eventually look like. Apple talks a lot about the iPad Pro, about iPad OS being a new thing and the iPad being a replacement for your computer. But that iPad Pro came out in 2018, and in like tech age, it's like in its mid to late 50s. It's due for an upgrade. We thought we were gonna get that in 2019. Apple, and I think smartly, sat it out and focused on software, but I don't think they can buy another year of the current hardware. So iPad 2020 is going to be tiny little updates. So A14X, the things you'd expect design-wise, should stay almost identical. Camera's gonna get a bit different. It's gonna go for the square camera sensor, similar to what we have in the iPhone 11 Pro. Conflicting reports, it's gonna go sort of the third sensor in the Pro, or the two sensors that we've got in the 11. But what I'm more excited about, and this is kind of weird for Apple, is not necessarily on the hardware. I'm sure it'll be faster, it'll be better, but 2018 iPad Pro is still really good. I'm excited to see the next iteration of iPad OS. So the first generation was saying this is a new operating system that's going to be for the iPad. What's the evolution of that? Apple will set themselves off on a path with iPad OS. I want to see what that first step is. Is it better multitasking? Is it better file applications? What are they going to do to make that iPad experience more closely related to what you get on a Mac? And if Apple's done anything over the past, they haven't been afraid to cannibalize themselves. The iPhone killed the iPod. Apple's sort of mindset has been, if anyone's gonna kill your product line, let it be you. So let's see if the iPad gets one step closer to killing the Mac line. And before I go on to the next list, I do want to thank this video's sponsor, Vectornator. So everybody loves free, but if you like free and you also want to get into vector design, Vectornator has you covered. It is probably the premier free vector design graphic software. And the best part is the code base is all unified across Apple. So there are apps for iOS, there's apps for your iPad, and apps for Mac OS, and the features are exactly the same across all of them. You're not getting sort of a watered down version on your iPad that you wouldn't get on your laptop. So with Vectornator, you'll get a flexible workflow and crazy powerful tools. So you can create different types of designs all inside of one software. So you've got pretty awesome features here. You've got artboards, auto trace, and Boolean operations. If you've got that killer idea for some sort of design you've been working on, give Vectornator a shot. Link to it down below. It's free, so not gonna cost you anything to give it a whirl. So I mentioned that Apple's like taking baby steps to maybe making the Mac line not relevant anymore, but 2019 was a really good year for the Mac. You might say it was the year that Apple did what they should have done years ago. They fixed problems and they updated things that desperately needed updates. So we got the 16-inch MacBook Pro with the new keyboard, and everybody was happy, and it was awesome, and it was faster and great. It's old. That's old news. We finally got an update to the Mac Pro, and it's an absolute beast, and it's kind of what people were expecting. Quasi-modularity, performance at amazingly high prices. But the other consumer products haven't been touched in a really long time. Let's talk iMac. That design language essentially started in 2012. 8 years ago. Your brother wasn't even born when that iMac first came out. It needs an update. Now there's been some patent designs that have come out, and Apple does these all the time. They never actually make it to product of a single sheet of glass that curves around. It's got a keyboard on the bottom. It looks awesome. The iMac desperately needs a redesign. Of course, its bigger, more powerful, expensive brother, the iMac Pro, making it space gray, is only putting a new coat of paint on an old design. So update that. Don't just make it gold and call it the iMac Pro and charge more for it and for the accessories. I think the iMac and the iMac Pro are computers for a lot of people. They're great for editing. They're great for students. They're really powerful machines. They need a design to match it. And I think 2020 is the year we're finally going to get that. The 15-inch MacBook Pro got the 16-inch MacBook Pro treatment when it got updated, but that lonely 13-inch MacBook Pro is still sitting there with its butterfly keyboard and chunky bezels and busted design. I would imagine that we're going to get the 14-inch version of that this year, and the 13-inch will go away, looking pretty much identical except for 2 inches smaller to its big brother. Obviously, the things you'd expect will be in there, the redesigned keyboard. I'd also love to see a 14-inch MacBook Pro with a dedicated GPU. I think that would probably be the most perfect mobile editing machine for folks who are in this line of work and people who just want more portable power. That would be amazing. It's not based on any rumor, that's just based on like a John want. I think that would be an absolutely awesome addition and make that 14-inch MacBook Pro an even better buy. Apple Watch Series 6, we know what's coming. It's not gonna go round. It's gonna have the same design. We should have better battery life and better IP ratings, so better water resistance. Those are the rumors that have been pretty consistent and sticking around. But what I think we might see that's new is on the health side. There's rumors of sleep tracking, first party built into the Apple Watch for a while. There are apps you can download, third party stuff that give you some information, but built directly into the watch with the sensors to track sleep. And as somebody who has talked pretty openly about having sleep issues, I'd be very excited and welcome to have that. I think we saw Apple take huge steps forward on the wearable side with having the ECG built into the watch. There's been some rumors of somehow doing glucose monitoring for folks with diabetes. A little bit tricky because you gotta actually have blood to do that, but a way to maybe do it through the skin. Taking health to a next level has kind of been where Apple Watch has found their niche. And sort of anything else they can do to improve the functionality of the Apple Watch, I think is tremendous. And I've talked about this in the past, but I have heart disease in my family. My dad has had bypass surgery, so he uses his Apple Watch to monitor his heart, make sure he's not in AFib. And I've seen firsthand sort of the real world use of that technology and seeing how it can impact a real person, adding more features that could help folks that are suffering from other ailments, I think is amazing. Regardless of where you fall on iOS or Android, the more options people have to monitor their health, I think the better. I've talked about Apple TV a lot, and I'm gonna leave it alone a little bit. So the current generation Apple TV 4K has the A10X, and we're on the A13, so there's a lot of A's in between to get the processor update that maybe could make things like Apple Arcade a bit more competitive. And there's been rumors swirling for a while about Apple maybe releasing some sort of Apple TV stick. I think that would still be awesome to have if you don't have room to plug in a whole box, you just want to plug directly into your HDMI port. I'll be pretty happy to see that. Let's make the stick happen. And there's a big category, and I'm gonna affectionately call it the others. Things that don't exist yet that are heavily rumored in Apple's world. So we saw AirPower get announced and then fizzle out, but there are rumors a wireless charging pad is going to be coming back, and maybe they'll call it AirPower, but I think it's a huge missed opportunity if Apple doesn't call it Apple Juice. Also, there was rumors of sort of tile-esque tags, the circles. We even saw them kind of show up in some iOS betas, what the interface is going to look like. We should certainly see that in 2020. Those are rumored to come out for holidays of 2019. Other things, over-the-ear headphones. Apple obviously makes Beats, but sort of AirPod branded. That'll go over your ear. That'll probably do exactly what the Beats do, but they'll be white, and we'll probably all buy them in droves. So that's Apple 2020, almost in a nutshell, in an Apple Core. A lot of awesome stuff to look forward to, a lot of things that will probably be controversial and maybe plagued with issues, and people will debate it, but certainly if they're Apple, they're probably going to sell a lot of them. I'm personally curious to see what Apple does with the iMac. I think it's ripe for that redesign. We saw the Mac Pro. Let's see what Apple does with the more consumer level desktop in 2020.